Coming to you from the studios at the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66, it's the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast.
Roll Chicago, rock and roll Chicago, my hometown. Well, I was born in the city, gonna rock your city, Chicago. Chicago rock and rollers are the best you're ever around.
Hey everybody, it's Ray the Roadie.
And this is Mike Matoyer.
Coming to you from the museum once again at our studio. Got another band for you this week. It's called Cheap Foreign Cars. How you guys doing?
Doing all right. How about you?
Good, good. Why don't you take a minute and introduce yourselves and who you are and what you play?
We'll start at the head of the table.
Hans Mast, vocals.
John Barrett, drums.
Ron Wilcox, guitar.
Joe Rocha, bass and vocals.
I'm Ray the Roadie.
And I'm Hollywood Mike. Just so the record, we're missing two of our guys, Jay, the keyboard player, and Reed, the multifaceted synth guitarist.
Yeah, Reed is our utility
vocalist.
infielder. He
Reed
plays
Pauly.
like every instrument.
Well, that's a shame because they're both missing out on this beautiful buffet that we provided you.
Sorry, guys.
Alrighty, so how did this happen? How did this band get together?
Go ahead, Ron.
Okay, so John called me up. And he said, John called me up about 100 times and said, let's start a band. Let's start a band. Let's start a band. And eventually I floated the idea of starting a Cars tribute band. John didn't like that. So
I don't remember any of this.
This is exactly how it happened. He didn't like it. He said there aren't enough songs to do a tribute band for the Cars, which I still strongly disagree with to this day. So to prove him wrong, I'm surfing YouTube and I'm going to show him there's going to be like hundreds of Cars tribute bands all over the country, right? And I find a bunch of them. But what really caught my eye was I found a band called Police Cars. They were doing the police on the Cars, and I thought, okay, wait. Now we're on to something here. I didn't want to steal their thing, do police cars, those police cars, even though they're not local, they're not Chicago, they were, I don't know, LA or something like that. So somehow I dreamed up Cheap Foreign Cars, called him, he loved it, and we started calling, it spread like a virus. You called Reed called
me.
Joe,
and Reed also called Hans, and then
we got Jay from Mike Callis, and then
Yeah. I want to know more about the name, though, because that's what everybody asks about our name.
Yes, tell us about your name.
it's pretty obvious.
What songs do you play?
He's cheap, he's bad, and
Yeah, so generally there's really no explanation necessary, especially when you see the logo like on our banner, which Hans sometimes remembers to bring to shows, or our pics and website and stuff. The logo we literally we kind of borrowed.
Careful, legally. I would suggest you not talk anymore about that one.
Our solicitor.
So you actually didn't, I don't think you actually told us the bands that you focus on.
That would be Cheap Trick.
Okay.
That gives us the cheap.
Right.
We have Foreigner. That gives us the foreign.
Right.
And coming full circle to the original idea, the Cars. Cheap Foreign Cars.
Now, did you choose those three bands because you guys just all loved them and said, ooh, we have to cover their music? Or did what came first, the chicken or the egg, the name or the bands that you chose?
Hans, is it true that Reed told me that when he floated the idea past you, that you said, well, that's two out of the three bands you're doing are my two favorite bands?
Yes, that was me. That was Cheap Trick and Foreigner are my, all the way from high school and all before, my favorite bands. And the Cars also were all part of that, but obviously, it wasn't one that primarily I listened to. But yeah, two of the three were right on top of my list.
Yeah.
Very
So
good.
the chicken or the egg? I don't really know what came first. We're just examining who had the most, or how many hits they had, and see if we can get a couple hours out of it.
Right. Then we started scrutinizing what songs got airplay, what songs charted, and what songs we just like too.
What bands were considered and discarded?
There were no
None.
other bands considered.
That was it. That was just those three.
Yeah. So
So I guess kind of a tough question. What's the fascination with saying we're just going to be kind of a quote unquote tribute band versus play all the music that we like and to hell with what people say? Was it a financial thing? Was it a desire to fill rooms? Where'd that decision come from?
It's not a financial thing. I know that.
I mean, when I say financial, I mean we're hoping to get more people into the club. You know,
well, we know
a
lot of people like this stuff. That's my opinion, and I know that. At least I don't know about Joe for sure, but Ron and I are big Cheap Trick fans.
Oh, sure.
And I believe you are. And I never really asked you.
Cheap Trick is a huge influence for me.
There's more
high
Cheap
school
Trick.
or whatnot. You know, I listened to them all through high school, and I was like, oh, I want to. You know, when I heard Live at Budokan, I was like, I want to be in a rock band like that.
I think the perspective was, we're all kind of past. Should I say past our prime? Should I say that or not?
We're like wine, man. We're getting better.
But so the thought was less about them than more about us, and picking the three bands that really are rooted in where we came from and that we love and that we want to play and that we think everybody would enjoy playing. That you hear of a couple from these bands. You hear a couple of the obvious songs all the time from other bands, but the songs that we go into, you don't hear at all. So we really got to go deep into some of these songs that you maybe heard once or twice over the last 20 years that you liked, and we can really, go into that deeply and have a good time with it and enjoy it. And we get to play songs from bands that we love. So it really wasn't about them; it was more about us.
And how many songs are on your set list?
60.
About 60.
Yeah,
Really, about 60. And what percentage of those would you say people have heard regularly? Are they, or you classify as hits?
Regularly, I would say at least half of them, right?
Yeah, not having done the research myself to find out exactly how many there are from those three bands, I'm just curious, just asking.
We do them in order. Cheap Trick foreign cars, Cheap Trick foreigner cars. Through the
and we
whole
try to
cycle.
make it even as we can.
Yeah, Ron does it cheap foreigner cars. Cheap foreigner cars. So the whole night is kind of like that until we break loose at the end. And I'm sure Ron will talk about the end where we go into maybe a little bit of maybe the last couple of songs, maybe other bands,
Right.
just to kind of have a little fun. But with the Cheap Trick, there's probably 3 songs that most people hear all the time, and we know those.
Right,
We can
right.
say those very easily. Foreigner's probably 4 or 5 that you hear a lot, and that's everything else is no. And then Cars, I don't know if you hear anything other than maybe just what I needed. So that brings everything out that, from the people that know the bands, you're going to hear songs that you're like, oh, wow, I haven't heard that in 20 years. And it really brings back a lot of memories. So
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, because back in the day you would listen to the whole album, so
Right.
you're familiar with these.
Exactly.
You don't hear it on the radio, but you're familiar with these songs.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's a good point. That the people that are familiar with those bands would have,
Right.
they couldn't just download one song at a time.
That's right, like they do now. Right.
The whole album.
Yeah,
And it was on vinyl.
yes, it was.
I had 8 tracks. I had 8.
Wow. I had the cassettes. I did have a couple of Cars albums on cassettes. Sure. So on the way over here today, I listened to a bunch of videos that your fans have posted
Of us?
of you guys. Yeah,
Oh.
absolutely. So do you do all of the singing, or does anybody else sing lead?
Reed and Joe and Ron do the backups,
Okay,
and I do the lead.
and you do the leads. I do have to admit, you do a pretty good job at the Foreigner stuff. I was impressed. I'm a singer myself, and I'm listening and saying he's not going to hit this high note. Sure, shit, he hit the high notes. So I got to give him the credit for it.
I think Foreigner does them a half step lower anyway these days.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think most of them do.
yeah.
So
No, that's a universal trick. I think a lot of people do that.
So we try to stick with the originals.
Yeah. Well, good. And
The cool thing about back to Hans hitting the high notes for Foreigner, he's also hitting those kind of baritone notes in the Cars.
Right.
That is, Rick Ocasek and both Rick Ocasek and Ben Orr both had those, more baritone.
well, before we started, he actually sang the intro to LaGrange by ZZ Top.
But he
So
sang
did
it.
you.
He sang it a half step lower.
So when did the band start? How long you guys been together?
2-ish years ago.
Two-ish?
2 years. And what did you guys do prior?
Band-wise?
Joe, how many? 10 bands? How many?
12 bands. So you never know where you might find me. There's a few. There's a few out there. And this was one that it caught my interest because Reed, when he called me to do it, he's like, "Would you do this kind of, would you do this kind of cover thing?" I was, absolutely, I'm in. And here I am, adding to all the other wonderful things that I do. This is one of them too.
Yeah.
Right. And you play guitar?
I play bass.
You play bass. Okay.
And he sings. And he sings very well.
sometimes.
Right. And are you juggling these 12 bands all at the same time right now?
Yes.
You are? Wow.
I mean, the other fun thing about us is, we're not a band that's trying to play every other weekend either. We might play, twice a month?
About that.
And that's even a challenge, frankly,
At times.
with Joe.
At times.
And we've actually substituted Joe once in a while, but not a lot because we like Joe. We love Joe.
Because we don't like substituting our guys.
Right.
But
It's not good.
Except no substitutes.
But so we're not trying to fill the calendar with this band, which is another good thing.
Right.
We'll play a couple times a month at places far away from other places. So it's kind of fun to be able to just play when we feel like playing, when we can fit it in, and that's good too.
right.
So, Mike, your background?
Ron.
Or Ron, I'm sorry.
I tend to be a lot more monogamous with bands. It's not always the case. I will fool around and now and again, but I'm mostly monogamous. So for the past, actually, I was in a country, old school country band for a couple of years before this, and then prior to that, I was in a local band, Cover Girl, for about 16 years.
You were in Cover Girl.
Yes.
They were very popular.
Okay. Oh, yeah, absolutely. The last time I saw you guys, I was in a band and we opened up for you at the Bolingbrook Performing Arts Center. I was in Forget Hannah. And about 10 years ago, Bolingbrook Performing Arts Center, we opened up for you.
I remember playing there. We played there a number of times. That's a great place to play.
Oh, yeah. It's fantastic. Cadillac Groove just played there this past summer. It's great. Yeah.
Those were grueling shows. We would play the Performing Center, and then we'd go play at Tailgaters after.
Oh, yeah. Right. Or at least to go hang out at Tailgaters afterwards. That's the place to go. Man, that's a small world. I didn't know you were in Cover Girl. Yeah, for 15 years.
About 16, I think.
Wow.
Very long time. Went through a whole bunch of different players and two different girls.
Right.
G-U-R-L-S.
And then you took a few years off. You played in the country band, and then you decided to put together Bad Foreign Cars.
Yeah, Cheap Foreign Cars. Yeah.
Or Cheap Foreign Cars. Yeah.
That's our different.
That's the offshoot.
That's the bad company.
Yeah, that's when you have to sub out.
But speaking, that segues into John's background.
I don't think you're done, Ron. What about all the other stuff before Cover Girl, like Johnny Chainsaw?
Oh, that goes way back. So I was in a punk band called Johnny Chainsaw and the Troops of Tomorrow.
You have to mention that.
But after that, and before Cover Girl, I was in a bunch of other bands. One of them, very notable actually, was the DeLoreans. That was a really, really fun band. We were playing all 80s stuff. And it was like all of everything that was not hair metal.
Okay.
So the closest thing we got to hair metal was like Billy Idol. But we were doing stuff that nobody ever expected to see a cover band do. We were doing like Depeche Mode and stuff. And then we were doing it.
Not easy to cover.
No, we were doing it spot on too. Our drummer was a genius, and he wrote tracks and stuff, and for the things that we couldn't cover.
Right.
No, but that was a good band.
Don't lose focus. We're videotaping. And I was also in a band with you, an original band that really never made it out of the basement.
You were briefly in one of my original bands.
Yeah, I was thrown out.
That was
Let's
Black
not talk
Box.
about it.
Why not?
No, let's not.
No, I think we should talk about that.
I think it's great.
It's your turn anyway.
This is
that Black
therapy.
Box? Yeah, that's just one of my bands. I'm not as active as Joe or Ron or maybe even Hans, but I've been in a few with my brother. Did a band with my brother, and then some other bands. The most recent one was a Bad Company tribute band, which we during COVID.
Good band too.
Yeah, we learned all the Bad Company stuff and Free, and stayed pretty much to that. And then prior to that, I was in a band that did the typical stuff you'd see in a bar with a really good singer, guitar player. We do a variety of stuff.
It was a party rock band.
Right.
Yeah.
What was that band called?
Bad Enough, and then Recovered.
Okay.
But Bad Enough is still going. I believe they are. And, and then...
So you're only in one band, is that what you're saying?
Right now, I'm only in one.
Monogamous.
And I'm going to keep it that way unless I get a roadie.
Yeah, you do have the most stuff to carry.
Yeah. I'm the last one to leave usually and first one there.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, that's about it for me.
And now on to Hans.
No,
No, he's
No,
not.
no.
No,
it's your turn.
No, it's your turn.
For what? For bands, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, for your history. What?
Yeah, give some
How come Joe didn't have to list all 12 bands?
Joe, I would
Come
want
back
you
to
to.
me.
Can you list them?
Sure.
Oh, he's
Joe,
going to list them all.
I want to hear all 12 bands.
Let me see if I can get them all
Here we go.
out because I should say of the 12 bands that I'm with, maybe 5 are active, and the rest I'm probably maybe a first call sub.
Can you do it alphabetically?
Good gravy, no. Alphabetically, no. Oh wait, I could think of one. Animation.
I like.
Animation. So I got that one at the top of the list.
Rush.
Let's see, animation. I got the Cheap Foreign Cars, which that's alphabetical, right?
So far,
Starting
so
with Cheap.
far. Very good.
Starting with-
Very good.
Let's see.
Go back to B.
I can't go back to B. Oh yeah, because that's my original band, Bump, but I missed that. Let's see.
Yacht Rock band?
The Yacht Rock band is that's Anchors Away, doing some yacht rock stuff.
So that's A.
So we're not alphabetizing the first word.
We're musicians, not scholars.
Yeah.
So we are. So I missed it already. See, we're musicians. I don't know.
He's playing jazz right now.
Yeah, I'm playing in my mind. I'm playing jazz in my mind.
That's the progression.
Yeah.
CBA.
Yeah, see, a guy talking music over here.
You do a duet with a...
Yeah, I got to do at Pleasant Panic with a friend of mine doing some acoustic stuff. Let's see, I'm with a band called Within 4 Days. That's at the end of the alphabet. Within. So
Planet Groove.
Planet Groove is a 7-piece horn band.
You're in.
Add Reed in there.
Yeah, Reed and I are
our synth guy.
Yeah, our synth vocal guy. He's in a couple of bands with me. Joe Friday, Planet Groove.
Right. So over the summer, or was it last summer? Actually, it was last summer. My band, Cadillac Groove, we played a wedding at the country club up in Itasca.
Medina.
Yeah. And you guys, no, it wasn't Medina. It used to be Nordic Hills. And I can't remember what they call it now.
Eagle Resort?
Eaglewood Resort.
Yeah. You guys were setting up on the patio while we were playing the wedding reception.
You were playing the wedding.
Yeah.
It's a small world.
Oh man, it gets smaller every day.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Okay, I think for now, that's my brain is fried.
We're on P's. We're on P. That's Planet
P.
Groove.
Yeah, Planet Groove. What else? They're all in there. It's like Prego. It's in there.
You got the open stage then too.
There's I got a karaoke band that I work with. That's the backdrop band. I've got my karaoke band, which is Sing with the Band.
Are you in Lens in it?
I'm in Lou's in it.
Lou's in it.
Good, great. Now, man, the gray matter is now working for me today. So many things, so many projects, so little time.
And you play bass in all the bands.
Play bass in all the bands except for Pleasant Panic. I play guitar.
Okay.
So I get to strum along.
Because that's the acoustic duo.
The
thing.
strum, the strum and hum kind of thing.
Right.
Haven't you played drums in Cheap Foreign Cars?
I did on a video. There is proof
Don't
that
you
I
give
did.
lessons to the drummer too?
Yeah, he's multi-faceted. He plays all. He plays bass.
Yeah, bass, guitar, keyboards, drums, and I'm not saying I do that well, but enough to get myself in trouble.
All right.
At least a little bit.
Well, Animation is episode 64 of the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast.
There we go. You've been here before, Joe.
I've been here before. Great to be back. All right, Hans, your turn.
Well, before we go with me, Reed, again, our synth vocalist, is with Joe on a couple bands. He's also with me in Easy FM, which is a yacht rock. So we kind of compete with Joe's Anchors Away as a yacht rock band. And he's also in CTA, which is a Chicago cover band. And then Jay, the keyboardist, is in Voyage, which is
That's Jay Pitcher.
Jay Pitcher, keyboardist.
Reed's playing the synth guitar. He's the second
Right,
guitar, and the guitar is, I don't know how he does it, but it's a synth
Right.
plugged into the guitar.
Yeah.
Like anything, it's a pedal.
I'm not paying attention, but I know
It's a guitar that sounds like a keyboard sometimes. So,
Right.
my history's less active. I've been in a band originally a long time ago with the Rumor, and then we went into the same people went into and changed our name to Hans and the Hormones, and so we were Hans and the Hormones until I don't know, 5 years ago, and then
last Halloween.
well, we play every now and then, but we're done. We've been done for a while, but and then we started with Easy FM, and then came into Cheap Foreign Cars. So. We've all been playing a long time, just in different kind of ways.
Easy FM, episode 32 of the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast.
Yes. I wasn't here by that
was
point.
yeah, you weren't with them at that time.
So these guys are all double dipping. There's a loophole in everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's supposed to be a one and done, but I mean, we find loopholes.
That's yeah, you do.
Back here.
That's why. That's why we ask the hard questions.
That's right.
You're only in one band. Is that what you're saying? Come on.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Give it up,
So
man.
there we go.
But I'm not in 12. No, I'm in Cadillac Groove, and we're a 9-piece horn band.
Wow. 9?
Yeah, we've got a 4-piece horn section.
Wow.
And then we're actually 10 guys though, because we actually have a full-time sound engineer, and he gets paid and comes out to gigs and does everything just like he's a
Makes things so
member
easy.
of the band. Oh, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And if you've never been a band with a full-time sound engineer, you're missing out. Everybody needs to go out
that's
and
like the
find one.
dream luxury for us.
Oh yeah,
It's like rich Corinthian leather or something.
right.
So every time you walk into a bar, it's a whole new adventure to know where it's going to be at the end of the night. Where you have it the same way every night. Which
Oh
is
yes,
nice.
absolutely. It and we've got it down to a science. It's great to have that.
Yeah, the sound guy can make you or break you.
Oh right. Oh absolutely.
We've been broken.
Oh yeah.
No, I do that, and I do solo stuff, and I have a Texas style blues country band. We're called Mike and the Stillmasters.
Okay.
And then you can see me around on every single Sunday at a place called the Studio in Lockport, about 10 minutes away from here, and I host the open jam there on Sunday nights at 8:00. So
Lockport.
that's about what I do, musically. But that's enough, because between those 3 projects, I played about 150 shows last year. So
Whoa.
so I don't need any more than that. Yeah.
That's almost as many as Joe.
Almost.
Oh, but I left out
What'd you look
because we were literally listing every band. The country band I was in was Hody Snitch.
Holy snitch.
Hody Snitch.
Odie Snitch.
From
Yes.
the Andy Griffith Show.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. I think we're gonna have to edit that out. You missed your chance earlier. So.
Joe is actually a regular in my cousin's band too. Big Al Wetzel up in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So
Crossing
all
the
comes
border.
around, yeah.
Crossing borders, right?
So how you guys finding your gigs? Do you work with any booking agents, or do you do it all yourself?
So we'll book some things. Hans and I both have some contacts that we've made over the years, and we're booking some things directly like that. But we also work a whole lot with United Talent with Joey DeMarco.
Oh, sure. Right.
He covers a lot of bases.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he does take a lot of work out of it for bands looking for gigs, that's for sure. And where do you play most of the time? Is it all over the place, or are you kind of centralized to one kind of area?
I would say there's not a lot to play in certain areas, places to play, but I noticed a lot of stuff is up north. Mickey Fenn's, Nico's Red Mill.
Sundance.
Yeah, Sundance.
Yeah.
Sundance is a big venue for a lot of bands. Yeah.
Some things west and south. Yeah, Tailgaters and Base Camp and
Empty Barrels.
Empty Barrels.
Oh, yeah.
And a fun one is Foundation.
Foundation is fun.
Foundation in Chicago, actually.
On Irving, nice stage.
It's in the
Cool
Porter's
place.
Park
Cool place.
neighborhood.
And
And
close.
from what I understand, the Brussels sprouts are second to none.
The food's really good.
Listen,
Oh, I thought that was another band you were in, the Brussels sprouts.
it is now.
The Bo Brussels sprouts.
It's a new one for Reed and Joe.
You heard it here.
You and me, the Brussels
Yeah, the
sprouts.
Brussels sprouts.
The Brussels sprouts.
We're
Oh,
gonna
wow.
go do the Brussels sprouts, man.
I want to see that act when you put that together.
You heard it, Ron. We're on, man.
But you'll be so new, you'll still be green.
Right.
Oh, no. He said that, didn't
Yeah,
he?
he did.
I did.
Ron does have an idea for a new band, a take on the Beatles. You want to explain that one? Or?
Oh, we're gonna wait. This,
Yeah, yeah.
Do we really
I
want to
shouldn't-
leak this?
Maybe we shouldn't leak it. Maybe we should hold that
We
back.
gotta write that.
All right.
We'll write up the contract.
We'll be back and do a podcast for that if you'll have us.
Just give him the name. Maybe you don't have to explain it.
It's Yoko's fault.
Okay.
You can use your imagination.
It's all the. I'm going to say it. Anyway.
Okay, we're gonna say it.
Okay.
It's all the Beatles individually solo songs after the Beatles.
So no Beatles songs,
It's Yoko's fault.
just all the solo stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of time on your hands to sit around and come up with these combinations.
You're missing Reed in this
Wow.
one. I think if Reed was here, he'd have so much to say about that. But
It would.
Wow, no, that's
Well, if
that's
it takes
actually
off.
an interesting concept. It really is. I have to say that's unique.
It could be complicated.
Yeah.
If it takes off and you leave an envelope on the table when you leave this evening, I guess that'd be the first podcast payola.
Yeah. Right. Interesting.
So where can people find you guys? Social media wise?
We do this brand new thing. I'm not sure if anybody's heard of this.
What, the internet?
Facebook.
Facebook.
So we do we do Facebook and Facebook. That's about all for social media. We're not real big in the social media.
No website?
We have a website, cfcband.com. Yeah, what else?
You guys popped up pretty easily when I did a Google search.
How did you search?
I just searched for the name of the band.
Cheap Foreign Cars?
Yeah, Cheap Foreign. I said Cheap Foreign Cars Band, and about 6 videos popped up.
wow,
Yeah.
that's scary sometimes. You never know what those are.
No, in fact, they might still be on my phone.
That's all right.
I heard a couple Foreigner tunes that I heard.
If you say Cheap Trick in Cars, I'm going to slap you.
Probably a Cheap Trick song in there somewhere.
Somewhere. Yeah. but you came up pretty easily when
That's
they when I
good
did a search,
because
so.
initially the algorithms or whatever the search crawlers are catching up. Because initially you would search cheap foreign cars and you would just get like, Big Al's used car.
Cars.com and stuff like that. No, that's why I figured I would. That's why I made sure I put band at the end of it. It came right up.
So you said you got together 2 years ago. So was this during the pandemic?
Yeah.
Right, I guess it was.
We were
So like you weren't playing or nothing, and you just decided you want to put something new together.
we were all still in bands, I think, but nothing was happening.
Right. Not a whole lot of action.
Nothing was happening, but we were wearing masks. Or we're starting to taper off a little bit. What are you going to do?
Yeah. There's a lot of bands that did play during the pandemic, and others that didn't play at all. So
No, we played. We
Right.
played.
Yeah, that's what made one of my bands fall apart was nobody wanted to go in a bar.
right.
Yeah.
All 12 of Joe's just have been strong.
Joe was booked solid.
We took our vitamins. We took our orange juice and all that. We were good.
Joe played all the COVID parties.
So are you playing like every day?
Almost like 4 nights a week,
Oh, yeah.
at least.
He actually, it's funny. He actually plays sometimes before our shows.
Yeah, it happened the other night.
It happened a couple times.
Yeah, a few times.
And so we're all waiting, keeping the stage warm for him, and he'll come up and we'll play, and it'll all be good.
We started at 10 on Friday, and Joe walked in at like 3 minutes to 10.
His bass was still tuned.
Yep.
know?
Still tuned.
It was still warm.
We're
still warm.
Joe, Joe, you never told us, where'd you come from? We didn't ask you where you came from.
I was in Geneva.
Geneva?
I was in Geneva.
Oh,
I was
boy.
playing Even Flow in Geneva.
Wow.
Doing live karaoke there, opening for Red Woody. And then, I pretty much, when I originally took the gig, I thought when Ron and I spoke about it, he's like, "You're going to make it to the gig, right?" And I said, "Well, yeah, and I was under the impression that it was a 10 when we had spoken about it. So I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, then I'll figure out a way to kind of skirt out, early from the the early gig and make the 10 o'clock." And luckily I did because I came in 2 minutes before showtime.
Wow.
I lucked out.
They nailed it.
Nailed it.
And it went well. It went real well.
It went really well. Great. I mean, there's great guys to work with. These really, really good band to work with. So come see Cheap Foreign Cars.
They should. All of our listeners.
I agree.
Yes.
One day we hope to have the parking lot full. We'll make it a special event. Parking lot should be full of cheap foreign cars. We want everyone to go out and just buy a cheap foreign car and just to drive it to our show.
Like a Datsun.
Yes. Yeah.
I think you guys should go out and buy a cheap foreign car, an old junker, and raffle it off at a show.
Yeah.
That's a promo.
That's my department.
That's your department.
Well, we have cheap cars. We just don't have foreign ones, but we can maybe work that out.
You need to find something like a 1978 Datsun.
That whole car is worth money. Call Victory Auto Records.
What was that Czechoslovakian car that was out? It was really a piece.
Yugo.
Yugo. Yeah.
Yugoslavia.
Yeah, Yugoslavia. Right? Now they're Bosnia Herzegovina or something like that. So
Yugo's my real name, actually.
Yugo.
I changed it to Ron.
It was harder to spell. Let me spell Ron instead.
Well, alrighty, guys. Thanks for coming out. It's been a lot of fun. Hopefully, we'll get out and see you guys sometime. Start playing down south here a little bit.
Love to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should play here at the Forge.
There you go.
Would love to.
Let's do that.
Alrighty.
Thanks,
Thanks
guys.
for coming out, and
Thanks for having us.
talk to you soon.
Thank you very much.
Alrighty.
Well, those were your friendly car dealers, the cheap foreign cars.
Yes, they were. And they knew a whole heck of a lot about those three bands, too.
Yes, they did. Well, you expect them to.
The foremost authority.
But they did say, sometimes they finish your shows with a couple of other bands, just to mess around a little bit. Didn't say who, but quite an interesting concept.
They did say who.
Did they say? I don't remember. I must have been laughing too hard.
They said who.
Did they say who?
Who?
Maybe it was the Who. Okay.
The Who.
The Guess Who?
No, just the who.
Just the Who. Okay.
Anywho.
But so that was a lot of fun with them guys. So I hope everybody enjoyed it. We sure did. And we hope to see you, see you. We won't see you. You'll hear us next week. Take care, everybody.
See you later.
The Rock and Roll Chicago podcast is edited by Paul Martin. Theme song courtesy of M&R Rush. The Rock and Roll Chicago podcast does not own the rights to any of the music heard on the show. The music is used to promote the guests that are featured.
Rock and roll Chicago.